Hello, I'm Esther Hertzfeld, Executive Editor of Hotel Management Magazine. I'm here with Eric Jacobs, Chief Global Officer with Aimbridge Hospitality. Welcome, Eric.
Great to be here.
So, given the recent economic volatility in the market, what do you anticipate in terms of occupancy and revenue for the rest of the year?
Well, I think most people would say, we're at a conference, this is what we're talking about all the time, right? But I think there's some unknowns to this summer travel and probably to the rest of the year. As we know, some of the political situations have caused people to wonder about the economics of the country, whether people are invited to our country from a foreign travel to inbound. But by and large, I think this will be a year where people are going to probably stay home a little bit closer, maybe not do the international travel. The trends we're seeing is probably more local or national travel this year. I still think people will get out on the road. Memorial Day was a great travel week. We had really good industry indices that said that people still want to get out and travel. So I think it's going to be a moderated year based on previous years. I think people are anticipating a bit of a slowdown. Obviously, government business has really slowed down. Group business is softening a bit, but the leisure traveler, which tends to be a little more short term, so we're preparing for that. And then really for our company, we're really focusing on small group travel, regional travel. But overall, I think that the industry feels that we're at an interesting, nobody likes a volatile market. So I think that uncertainty causes some pause, but I don't think it's any different than we've seen in other travel cycles. So maybe you don't do the international travel, you stay a little closer to home, which certainly happened with national occupancies and things like that. We see a little softening in rate, but not anything to freak out about yet.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. So the third-party management model has always existed in hospitality, but it really has kind of gained more traction and becoming more increasingly popular these days. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's always been owner-operators. There's always been people who can operate for you. I think and I've kind of grew up in this, I think about when the first franchising models, particularly with Marriott, Hilton, and some of the other big brands, really started to take off, which is really the early 90s, which is when I started my development career on the franchise development or managed development side. But what we're seeing in terms of a global trend is really the big brands recognizing the value of franchising and stepping further away from wanting to manage all the assets. Now, I think the big brands will always stay focused on big boxes like this and luxury travel and big convention center group houses. But when it comes to the rest of the industry, they're going to be looking for qualified partners. So it's a really bifurcated industry, and it depends on where you are in the world as it relates to third-party management and where does the maturity of third-party management happen. Here in the United States is a very mature business, but it's fractured, right? Yeah. So we might be the largest third-party operator by 2.5 times. Then that next competitor, then it's 4 times, and then you get to basically everybody under 10 hotels or less. So it's a very fractured industry here in North America as it relates to third party. You step outside and you go to the Middle East or you go to Asia, it's a brand new concept in terms of third-party management. That being said, it's a growing economy or a growing business as part of the hotel industry as the big brands like Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt push further away from wanting to manage everything and allow for partners they trust and who know their brands and are committed to the quality of their brands, give us the permission to operate. And so we see it as maybe a sub-industry that should grow faster in many ways than other pieces of our business today.
Well, that's good to hear. So you alluded to this a little bit, but as Aimbridge is the largest third-party management company in the U.S. right now, the company has kind of undergone some large changes in the past several years. So what is the company doing right now to like make strategic and operational improvements?
So we describe this a little bit as when Aimbridge was created 20 plus years ago, we call that Aimbridge 1.0. And it was literally, created out of a hotel room, file cabinets in the bathtub, but very entrepreneurial spirit that the initial team had. They grew that company to a point where they sold it to a PE firm who took it. That was 2.0. And they were very focused on growing it, but going public in a very short window. And I think they got very focused on, call it the business of Aimbridge, growing to a very quick a number. I call it keys over fees. And ultimately didn't achieve their goal, which is when they brought our new leadership team in. And we took over the company about a year, 14 months ago. And I really tried to transform the company back to focusing on what we do best. Craig and I like to talk about our company. We have the business of Aimbridge and the business of hotels. But if we're not feeding the business of hotels, which is our GMs and taking care of these assets for these owners, it won't feed the business of Aimbridge. So being strong here makes a strong Aimbridge. And I think that's the cultural shift since we've come in as we think about 3.0 and who do we want to be in the next chapter of Aimbridge's life, is really be focused on best of class operation, best of class talent. As the largest operator, we should be able to attract talent better than anybody. Again, if the big brands are moving away from third-party management, we should be the place for somebody to come and grow their career. They can start as a housekeeper and become a GM, a regional, and so on and so forth. That's the opportunity that we believe that our scale brings to the table today. Well, we're focused on day-to-day operations, pouring into the GM. We talk about the inverted triangle. Corporate's down here, our GMs are here. How do we support them? It's not the other way around. We say internally, what have we done for the field today? What can we take off their plate to make their job easier? What AI and technology can we take to the GMs so they can spend more time with associates and making happy guests? That's what we're thinking about today. Again, it goes back to the business of hotels, and that's where our strategy really lies. I think the other piece that we're really focused on, fees over keys. So quality fees, longer term agreements, partners who are focused on long-term relationships, not short-term ownership, quick flips, but something that will provide us a long-term fee income. I like to say we're building a company to last, stealing a car one, but built to last is really our focus. Again, top talent, great operations, leverage our scale. Being big doesn't mean we're the best. It's leveraging our scale, being able to provide top talent, best resources at a lower price to those owners, driving best top line and middle of statement operational efficiencies. That's what we're really truly focused on. I think for a few years they kind of lost that focus and they got focused on growing the company without growing the focus and staying focused on what we're really in this to do, which is drive quality operations.
Well, that's good to hear. So wrapping it up, what is one thing you are looking forward to in the second half of 2025?
Besides a vacation?
Yeah, where are you headed for vacation? That's
I don't have one planned yet.
Oh, you gotta get a vacation planned.
Listen,
you gotta have something to look forward to.
Travel. I have a wedding to look forward to. My youngest is getting married, so we got that week is planned. So that's with the grandkids and everything. That'll be a great week.
That's fun.
I think the second half of the year. Listen, I'd love to see while it's the turmoil that's been created today with just the change in presidency and the different directions, got everybody kind of, am I forward, am I back, are we going left, are we going right? It's kind of exciting in some ways too for me. So I think we've got a significant opportunity in our business. I think whenever there's a softening in the market, there's always a separation between the big kids and the little kids. And I think we have a with our strategic focus, we have a distinct advantage to continue to lean in and leverage our scale. Again, not being big, how do we leverage our scale? In the meantime, as well as staying close to our partners and making them feel important. And that's the other thing we've heard is we need to make sure while we are big, these owners feel like we are a small company. So we're spending a lot of time, whether it's one-on-one conversations, building a CRM system so that the right hand and the left hand know what they're doing when we're talking with different owners and making sure that information goes back and forth. But probably the most exciting thing, I don't know, that's a tough one. Listen, it's an amazing business. And every year we think about what kind of challenge or hurdle are we going to have. And our industry is so resilient. You think about what happened in COVID.
Yeah.
If this industry can survive COVID, you can survive everything. So that gives me great faith that there will always be economic ups and downs. That's our business. I've been in this long enough to know that. It's just how deep do we go and then how far up we come back. And I think it's always just an exciting time. I'm excited to see some of the new hotels that are coming, the new concepts that are coming. And on a personal basis, when I'm not traveling here in North America, there are a lot of interesting places that we're looking about how we might build new platforms or new businesses in the Middle East or in Europe as part of our EMEA team. We're looking at Latin America, what other platforms we might be able to build and grow with them down there and step into other business lines. That's going to be the second half of my year in terms of focusing on that.
Well, it sounds very exciting.
Yeah,
well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.